Hey everyone, James Labrie from Dream Theater, and you're listening to or watching the podcast Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian. Enjoy this. These guys are extremely informative. I love their dialogue. I love their interpretation of the songs, who and what we are, what we were going after. They're very accurate in their interpretations and descriptions, and I just think this is a great show, and these guys are doing a stand-up stellar job. So once again, enjoy Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Talking into Infinity, a Dream Theater-centric podcast. I am your host, John. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, talkingintoinfinity.com, the CMSnetwork.com, and the CMS Rumble page. If you are tuned in on YouTube, don't forget to click that like button and click that subscribe button, and of course, smash the notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. For once, I actually have my real co-host here this week. He decided to actually show up for a show. So let's bring him on. You may not remember him. This is Brian. Say hello since you actually deigned, I should say, to show up to a podcast episode.
Hello, Brian. Hello, John. What's going on, buddy? Yeah, it's been I only missed one, right? Or did I miss two?
You've missed two already, so that's good.
Two this year? Okay. No wonder our ratings are through the roof right now. Right. Or in the toilet. I don't know which it is.
Look at this. Everybody's kissing your ass. Tom Cullen, good to see you, man. He says, welcome back, Brian.
Hey,
Doug McCauley.
$5 is in the mail, Tom.
Doug McCauley says Brian lost at sea. So that's good. We have Stephen Wright, king of the one line comedy. It says, hello. Good to see you, Stephen. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate that very much.
That's the guy from Potter Than Hell.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so that's why he's saying this is his second podcast. I went on their show. I don't think it's coming up for a week or so. So
you've appeared on other people's shows more than ours this year.
Well, it's close.
Well, welcome, Stephen. Thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate it. Brian, I know it has a story to tell about you guys meeting up with you on the boat here in a little bit, so that's cool. Let's see. Yep, second podcast this week. All right. Ali Studio, good to see you. He says, what's up, guys? I hear DT-16 is going well. Yep. All we know is basically what Portnoy has said. But if you're following his social media, he was reviewing guitar tracks. He had a private deck on the cruise he was playing. And he was.
So he is still in the band. We'll tell that story later.
That was funny.
No, it wasn't.
That was St. Patrick's Day. I was a little bit sauced up. Go figure. So, all right. So, real quick. So, the topic of tonight's show, which we will get to, Brian again recently came back from the Monsters of Rock cruise, and he had a great time. He was texting me a bunch of stuff, and if you follow us on Facebook, which you should if you don't, he posted a bunch of cool pictures of the guys he ran into, and it was a great time. And I was back here holding down the fort, as it were, doing the show. And so he's going to tell us about the cruise, but he had a great idea thinking, okay, well, what if, we could book a Dream Theater cruise? Who would we have as the opening bands for the Dream Theater cruise? So we each I picked 8 bands, Brian. How many did you choose?
I got 9. I wanted to get to a total of 10. And to be clear, they're not exactly openers. We're kind of doing it like sort of how they did on Monsters Rock. Every band plays twice, and there's multiple stages, so shows can be going on at the same time. We'll make this a 3-day cruise. It'll be shorter because we only have 8 or 9 bands.
Okay. Yeah, I actually picked bands like I didn't pick anybody bigger than Dream Theater, I don't think. I kind of was like, okay, let's make sure Dream Theater's the headliner and stuff. So
I actually did as well. I think we probably in the same boat on that.
JG3, an Octavary cruise. Nice. That's awesome.
Wait, you got to announce Chastity Crowley's opening a bakery. So I'm trying to come up with some good Dream Theater Bakery buns or puns, if they will.
Look at that. Where did I miss that?
That was way in the beginning. She said she's
here we go.
organizing.
Look at that, Chastity. She says, I'm listening to this episode while I organize and build stuff for my new bakery I just started. That's awesome. Congratulations, Chastity. That's really kick-ass. One of my team members at work that I hired used to run a bakery, so I have knowledge of running a bakery just from what I heard from her. So it doesn't sound like much, but it's more than anybody else listening to this podcast. All right.
But before we get into the cruise and all of that and our topic, you are going to tell us a tale of how to torture non-Dream Theater fans, I guess, is how we're going to put this.
So I've posted on our Facebook before about going out to bars, and when people, play shitty music purposely, I'm like, all right, well, you're getting the Dream Theater treatment, which is usually, I try to start with something like Paralyzed but then if it happens again, we're going full hog. We're getting into the epics. So my wife and I went out for St. Patrick's Day this past Sunday, which we never do, because I'm, it's always on a weekday and I just don't give a shit about St. Patrick's Day. Well, this was on a Sunday, excuse me. I'd played the night before, so I was running on about 4 hours sleep, 3 hours sleep, something like that. And we were like, you know what, let's just go bar hopping. We don't ever do this. Let's see what's going on around our town. We live in a little city called Wadsworth here in Northeast Ohio. And so we're bar hopping, and the last place we get to, we'd had a few. So we end up talking to some people at the bar. Well, I remembered that about 3 blocks up the street, there's another bar, and it is a shithole. And the people there are rude. The customers are skeezy as hell. And I was like, okay, well, thank God we didn't go there. That's the one bar we're going to skip. So I go on TouchTunes and I start looking up stuff to play at the bar I'm at. Well, the shitty bar down the street comes up in a list of bars I can tap into their TouchTunes. So I get the great idea that it's about time to mess with the fine folks at the Wadsworth Tavern. So we started them out with a change of seasons. We then fast passed Octavarium. Someone then jumped me to play Modest Mouse or something like that, I think it was.
Okay.
Like, all right, well, you asked for it. So then I fast passed Count of Tuscany. Played Octavarium again. It basically, it ended up, I played over 2.5 hours of Dream Theater music at another establishment to the point where they turned the jukebox off. And my wife normally hates when I do that at bars. She absolutely can't stand it. But this time she was pissing herself laughing. She was like, "Are you still messing with those people?" I'm like, "Yeah, that bar sucks." And people are like trying to skip my Dream Theater with like hip hop and crap. Like, that ain't happening. So I know I got Nightmare to Remember in there. I got Pale Blue Dot in there.
Nice.
I got Illumination Illumination Theory. So I basically hit every epic I could find and fast passed them and doubled up on them. I was relentless.
So what is the so for those of us not in the know, I sort of know how it works. How much is it to fast pass?
So they changed the pricing. So it's usually like 2 credits a song or 3 credits a song. But if it's longer, they add a credit. And then it adds like 2 or 3 credits to fast pass. So I was spending like 5 to 6 credits a song. So I dropped like $25 on my TouchTunes account and went through probably about $20 of it.
So let's assume like the payout is slightly better than like what Spotify. So when Dream Theater gets that royalty check at the end of 2024 for like, I don't know, let's say $41, 35 of that is attributed to you.
Yep.
So we're gonna say
yes. And I actually wrote a lot of this down. I forgot that I did that because again I was having quite a bit of Miller Lite and Jameson. All right, so it goes Change of Seasons, Octavarium, In the Name of God, Someone skipped me for Mumford and Sons. That's what it was, not Modest Mouse.
I was gonna say Modest Mouse. I actually like that band.
Yes, I forgot this one. This was another good one. I was very creative. In the Presence of Enemies live, which in that case, Brian, is one song. Then we actually ended up talking to somebody we found out was our neighbor. He fast passed some song called Spicy McHaggis. So we did that. And then I was like, all right, I'll leave it alone. Hour and a half later, and then I kept playing random songs. An hour and a half later, I got bored and looked at my phone again. And I fast passed Ministry of Lost Souls, at which point they turned off the TouchTunes.
I wouldn't even do that to somebody I dislike. I mean, that's just flat out mean, Ministry of Souls.
Well, here we go. So this last note's the best. So I got home, ate lunch, did some chores, ran errands, finally sat down in my man cave down here at 10 minutes to 7 to eat dinner and watch YouTube. On a whim, I pulled up TouchTunes. I was still able to request songs at this bar. So I fast passed a Cannibal Corpse tune titled I Come Blood. So that's how I ended the night. But yeah, it was over 2.5 hours of Dream Theater goodness. And I so wanted to walk in there and just go, oh man, this place is playing cool music. But then I think everyone would have realized that I was the one doing it, and I probably would have had my ass kicked.
Well, Chris Barnes has you to thank for that 50-cent check that Cannibal Corpse is going to get then. Right?
Right, exactly.
Dude, you could literally do like a what's the? It's on Netflix now. That movie where they all drive the stock price up for GameStop.
Oh yeah.
You could like have everyone, all the fans, like at every bar worldwide, like do this. That would be completely amazing. Have them do it. Have them do it for. Oh God, yeah. Ministry of Lost Souls, I think, is probably the most torturous one. That even tortures me, like we said. Or In the Name of God. That's probably pretty rough for the average person, I would assume too.
16 minutes of slow, dirgy, awesome Dream Theater prog goodness.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah. Just got to the mute button in time before I sneezed. All right. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Steph couldn't believe I was still going. I was like, holy crud. Johan Alexanderson says, did you ever try 6 Degrees from Score? I have told that story on the show before, Johan. I'll tell it again real quick. Me and my buddy Circle J, who I think is actually tuned in right now, we were down at a bar in the Valley, and they were playing the worst kind of music, and we looked up the TouchTunes, and they actually did have the Score version of 6 Degrees, so it's like 44 minutes. So we played it, waited till it was over, then fast passed it, and then left. So we basically did an hour and a half to these people. It was awesome. So
what about that second disc that's like all the covers from Black Clouds that has like that King Crimson song or whatever?
Well,
a couple of those really weird ones, like throw those. I don't even like those at all myself.
Yeah, that Tenement Funster, or Take Your Fingers from my hair.
Or like to Tame a Land isn't bad, but that would annoy the crap out of the average person, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. No, they actually have a lot of the TouchTunes have those cover songs, which is pretty crazy. So, it's man. So yeah, that was my St. Patrick's Day. I was messing with a crap hole bar. I was quite proud of myself. So I thought I would feel guilty the next day when I sobered up, but I actually did not. I was still quite proud of myself. I was like, I gotta tell this one on the show. So anyway, so you were on the Monsters of Rock cruise.
I was.
Okay. So how long was this cruise? Because it felt like you were on the boat for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, so I think you are. So it was the 2nd to the 7th. So there's 4 full days or 3 full days actually at sea. One day you sail out, the other day you sail back in. But I think it's 4 full days in between. I had never been on a cruise, and you haven't been on one either, correct?
I have not. No,
you have not. No, it is a surreal thing, man. I mean, when you first get on, you like literally think you just walked into a mall or something that has, I think it has 14 floors.
Jesus.
And when you're looking in the main kind of elevator way, you look up and you can see everything and see all the different floors. And the one floor actually does look like a mall because it has like, 4 different restaurants. There's like like a jewelry store in there. coffee shop, bakery type thing. It just goes on and on. It's just all these little different things that are in there. And then you have the main deck, the main pool deck, which is, I think, almost all the way up. It's at the very top of the ship, essentially. And there's a pool stage out there, so bands play out there. And there are 2 theaters the bands play in. One's called Studio B, and it's a smaller theater. They call it the Ice Rink Theater because I guess they literally have, if it's not a concert type of a cruise, they actually have like ice skating on there, which sounds kind of ridiculous to see on a cruise ship, but
Right.
they actually have that. And it's kind of cool because it's sort of, you can sort of sit almost all the way around, not behind it, but it's real intimate, kind of seating. You're not very far away at all. And you can also just walk right up and stand on the floor and, literally be touching the stage almost if you want to.
Right.
And then there's a theater type thing that actually has a balcony, and I don't know how many that holds, but that's usually for the heavy hitters. Like Queensryche was in there, Extreme was in there, Joe Satriani was in there. And at any one time, you can basically have, for all intents and purposes, I think 5 bands playing. So, or they're almost always going to be overlapping 2 or 3 to 4. And this is even with the big name heavy hitters. So it's always kind of a battle on what do you want to see that particular day. It's almost
I was going to
impossible.
ask, if you had any overlap.
Well, you do know that every band is going to play twice, unless they play what's called the pre-party, and they actually had that on Dry Land, and that was Ted Poley, Y&T, this band called Hardcore Superstar, and a band from the I think they were more like late 80s, early 90s called Rhino Bucket. They're almost like a AC/DC kind of a clone, if you ever heard
Rhino
them.
Bucket, nice.
Yeah. So all of those bands played once there, so they only were going to play one time on the ship. And Jeff Scott Soto and Jason Bieler did their little acoustic thing. I think I sent you I sent you a video. They're doing a I'm Alive.
Didn't you say that was more like kind of like just a random jam than?
Yeah, it was kind of goofy. I guess given the circumstances, because they really only had it's sort of between bands. They're just sort of thrown over there, and there was a guy, Sean McNabb. I can't remember which band he plays in, but he was playing bass. They actually did have a guy kind of doing some drone rhythm. Yeah, it was more of a goofing around. It was cool, but it was awesome to hear him actually play that, song. But
Right. By the way, Doug McCauley says Brian goes on one cruise and comes back with a salty sea dog beard, asking John, "You ever been to sea, Billy?"
Yeah.
Nice.
Gonna catch the big white one.
Nice.
All right, Sean
Anyway,
McNabb is the bass player for Great White. I knew Stephen Wright would know the answer to that one.
Yeah, he was in Dokken. He was playing in Dokken when I hung out backstage for the Van Halen Dokken Rat Jackal show out in Wisconsin in 2013.
Oh, okay.
That's where I stole this exact guitar pick right
Jesus,
off of Eddie Van Halen's guitar rig.
That was as specific as it gets, man. The venue, the year, the 4 bands.
Dude, look, I was on stage. I stole Eddie Van Halen's actual pick from his rig, dude. Okay, I was touching Van Halen gear. That was such a memorable day. It's not even funny, but that's a whole other story. I was Dokken's stage manager and tour manager that day, so that's a whole nother story. But anyway,
That's awesome.
so yeah. So Sean McNabb is a really, really nice guy. He was actually on Sons of Anarchy. Little
Was he?
fact. Yeah, he was on that show for a while.
So yeah, anyway, so the coolest thing about it is these guys are just kind of walking around everywhere. At one point, I think it was before Quiet Riot's second show, they were supposed to play on the pool outside, and I literally see this guy just kind of running with this bass, and I look over and I was like, "Oh, that's Rudy Sarzo."
Damn.
I didn't know it until kind of too late because he probably would have done a selfie. They still had an hour or whatever. But yeah, and at one point I saw Justin Hawkins, a singer for The Darkness. So have you ever seen those? They're like mini wave pools where you try to surf in them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're I don't know, what are they, by 50 by 40 feet or something. And so basically what it is you get in there on a boogie board, and they won't even let you try to stand up and surf unless you can. First you got to prove you can boogie board and stay on. Then you got to kind of sit and do all this. The only way I look over and I was like, man, this looks familiar. And the singer from The Darkness has this big giant question mark tattoo on the side of his chest, and I was like, well, I'm pretty sure that's him. So he was over there and doing all that for a good 15, 20 minutes. And I'm texting my one friend. I'm like, you better get your wife down here because Justin Hawkins is here. She's going to lose her crap. You know?
Yeah.
So I started taking a picture, and his girlfriend got all mad at me. He's like, can't he have some time for himself? And she was all upset. So I was like, all right, I'm sorry. And I just went and sat back down. And then he comes over and starts talking to me, and I took a selfie with him, and it was fine. So
I saw, yeah.
meanwhile, the other time, this guy's like video him surf the entire time, and she didn't say shit to him. But it's fine. It was all, we cleared it all up. But yeah, like the main thing they tell you is like, because you're going to see him in the buffet line and stuff and sitting down. Like, don't bother him while they're eating. Like there was one time when we saw Todd Latore over there. He was literally sitting by himself, and I was like, holy crap, and it was very confusing because I'll tell the story real quick. There's two guys that looked exactly like Todd Latore. I mean, I'm serious, dead on. Like this guy, I think he knew it, and he was milking it, but he didn't have the tattoos. Because I almost went over there, and my buddy's like, Paul's like, you realize those aren't he doesn't have the tattoos. And I'm like, oh shit, you're right. Because there's very distinct tattoos Latore has. And, so anyway, this was him in the buffet the last day. So they don't, you're not supposed to bother him. But he did have a little bit of oatmeal kind of right here. So I went over, just did a quick dab. And I said, oh, my God, I didn't even realize I was carrying this around the whole time. I have this limited edition Digital Noise Alliance on vinyl. Is there any chance you could sign this? I forgot I had it right there. But no, I'm making all that up, obviously. But so I didn't even say. It was funny because when he was done eating, he was like, he had a cup of coffee there, and everyone's like sort of staring up the whole time, but you're trying not to stare too.
Yeah,
he gets up, and especially because this was literally the last day of the cruise. Like we're getting ready to dock and everything, or we already were docked, I guess, and everyone's got to get off in an hour, but people are just slamming in there real quick for a last breakfast. And he did get up and he was leaving. Somebody tried to do an autograph and picture, and he was like, no. He's like, I'm done. Well, plus, he literally got right off of that and went on to the cruise to the edge. I didn't realize Queensryche was on that as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he got on and went over there. And, but, the guys are walking around, and they're cool. And, I would say almost all the shows were really good, other than Ace Frehley doing his normal, like he probably needs to just hang it up.
Not good.
It's just annoying. I mean, you know what you're going to get with Ace. He has kind of cleaned it up over the years, but it was frustrating. The other thing that kind of bummed me out a little bit was what Soto did. So I saw him live, but they just did a bunch of medleys, and I think he's kind of in a weird in-between spot when he plays this type of show because he doesn't have Sons of Apollo behind him, and he doesn't have what's the new band, Art of Anarchy. They're getting ready to tour, I think.
Yeah,
actually coming up this week. They're going.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people I don't think are that familiar with his solo stuff. So he did kind of like a medley of his solo stuff, a medley of Yngwie, which was cool. And but yeah, I would have loved to just get I don't know, give us 3 Sons of Apollo songs and 3 full Yngwie songs or something. But again, I think he's kind of caught in a weird spot on what material does he play, because people just don't really know his solo stuff. I mean, it's good, but it just hasn't been really promoted around here, and he's never really toured around it that much.
See, I think that's something excuse me, that I think you and I would really get into, because I and I think the more musician types on the boat, especially the singers, I think would really be into watching that regardless of what he plays, because it's like, to hear a voice like that in that stripped down of an environment is absolutely beautiful. And it's not so much the songs. You're not like going, play, Divine Addiction or whatever the hell, you're kind of going, holy crap, listen to that voice. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, he sounded great. And they brought this girl up from this band, and if Steven's still on, I forgot the name of the band. So they traded off and did Stand Up and Shout. And this chick was just like singing up in the complete ozone layer, these just massive high run. It sounded amazing, man.
What did she look like?
She actually looked pretty. She looked decent. She had long blonde hair, young.
Okay, that wasn't.
It's like P. Starts with a P. I forgot the name of it.
Okay, I was wondering if it was Mariah from Plush. I didn't know if Plush was on
there.
No,
no, it wasn't her. It starts. I think it starts with a P. I want to say Paola Andrea something or whatever. I don't know. A lot of people on the boat seem to know who she was. I don't really know why. I don't know if she was. There it is. Paralandra. That's the name of it.
There we go.
Oh,
Thank
thanks.
you, Steven.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, it was awesome. It's just like they're trading off, doing parts on it, and like it was just, man, your ears were like almost pierced at the end. It was so high, but it sounded killer as hell.
So, quick question here. So,
yeah.
Christine Lee Stevenson, good to see you, by the way. She wants to know, were there any fights there? I'm going to guess not, Christine, because it wasn't a cruise to Lima, Ohio. But
no, you know what? Everyone's, it's funny because I'm a member in a couple of these Monsters of Rock cruise groups, and everyone's posting like, oh, how come everyone's complaining? And I'm like, well, I think more people are posting about people complaining than people actually complaining, or just about. So there's no fights. I mean, everyone's cool. I mean, there is the pool stage. I was telling Steven when I was on his show, and if you get a chance, it's Potter Than Hell is their podcast. Make sure you check it out. It's available everywhere. But I was.
What's with the dismissive hand? That was rude.
Oh no,
Steven, I apologize for my uncouth co-host here.
That actually wasn't. I'm actually trying to move my mic is what I'm doing over here. So that was not a dismissive hand. I swear to God.
So unprofessional.
I was not. No, seriously, I'm trying to move this.
I love busting your balls, man.
I know.
I owe you so many.
No, everyone's cool. And the thing I was telling him is the pool stage is the best because, dude, and there's people in this group saying, oh, I couldn't get close to the pool stage. I'm like, dude, the pool stage, it's not that packed in there. I mean, it's like everyone's circled completely around the balcony. There's these hot tubs that are at the very far back. People are in there. People are just totally surrounded. But if you want to get up right by the stage, you can get there, and it's not this deal like, remember when we went to Dream Theater in Columbus, and at some point I bailed because those like 7-foot dudes were like, well, there's no spot here, but we're making one. Like I'd had enough of that shit after like the third time people did it, and so you and Steph stayed there, and I was like way in the back.
Yep.
So, but none of that goes on because you don't need to because there's plenty of room. So, and everybody's cool, I mean, I don't know why someone would even possibly even start a fight, to be honest. I mean, there's a lot of drinking that goes on, but I unfortunately could come down with this like the start of this horrible cold like 2 days before, and I'm like, oh my God, really? So I was battling it the whole time. So I really couldn't drink a whole lot. I mean, even when I did, I was like kind of so tired that it just sort of wore me out more than anything. But I made sure that I still had as much fun as I could, but I didn't quite, cut loose quite as much as I wanted. But yeah, no, I mean, there's no fights. It's just a mellow atmosphere.
Well, now I do have to say, I think I know the real reason why you didn't really cut loose, because they weren't serving Four Loko and Bud Ice to mix together. So your normal hellish concoction was not available on the boat.
You know what? You're right. I do want to say, so after the cruise, I swore I was on antibiotics, so I didn't drink it all. But I went high end. I got some Modelo here.
Oh my God!
For me, that is like, for me, that's like, I don't know what's considered a really expensive beer, Budweiser.
That's like quadruple your normal expenditure.
Yeah, it is. So,
guys, what Brian's trying to tell you is he hit the lottery this week. Yeah. Brian hit the Powerball, so he's celebrating with some Modelo.
I did. One other quick thing is, you're not much of a gambler, are you?
No.
Okay. So I was excited because I had not been to Vegas in going on 20 years. I love playing craps. And the first night we were there, I was like, the craps table, I didn't think, or during the day, I saw there's a craps table there, but it doesn't look like it's ever open. Right. And my boy was like, oh, yeah, they open it at night. So I went over there. The last 3 days, I played a crap ton of craps, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Right. I was up almost $200 at one point, then back down to zero. And if you ever play craps, it's a really up and down game, but you have the best odds of winning. So I ended up cashing out 75 ahead, which was awesome for me. So
wait, $775 or 75?
No, $75. No.
Okay, I was gonna say that's huge. Like me and you have just you and I have discussed this off air before, but neither you nor I are gambling people at all. So yeah, I was gonna say $700, man. Wow, you really hit.
Craps is the only thing, and the problem there is it's a higher minimum, so you got to basically you almost have to you got to bet $20 at a time. Whereas in the cheap, really dingy parts of Vegas, you can bet like 10 at a time, which doesn't sound like a lot, but then think of how quickly you can lose $100 if you're betting 20 as opposed to 10.
Yeah, right. So, yeah.
But yeah, man, it was a great show. I mean, the obvious, I'll just real quick the obvious highlights. I mean, Queensryche, they're just never going to sound bad anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they ever did, but I mean, Todd, they played 2 completely different sets. I think there maybe was one repeat, and I don't remember. I think I told you, for God's sakes, they started the second set on the pool stage. I hear this dun 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 dun. I'm like, why does that sound like Screaming in Digital? I'm like, oh my God, it is Screaming in Digital. Who the hell would think to start a set with that song?
That's awesome.
It's so fucking high vocally.
Right.
I mean, my God, that just takes some balls right there.
Well, but that's exactly why you do it. I mean, you're a singer, you know that there's certain songs like, okay, we're going to put this in the show tonight, but I have to get it out of the way like right away. Like we can't be doing this like, 3/4 of the way through the show shit,
Yeah, it could be that. Extreme on the pool stage was awesome. Armored Saint, saw them inside. They sounded great. John Bush just sounds awesome.
I love John Bush.
Accept was really cool. But yeah, man, if you want to hear like a complete, literally day by day thing of the cruise, it'll be on the Potter Than Hell. They're doing a bonus thing that I was on a couple days ago, and thanks again to Steve and all the guys over there. And so a real quick story too. I met them at one of the pools. I think I told you when I went on the cruise, I had 2 goals. I was stalking a couple podcasts.
Yes, you did say that.
It was Growing Up Rock, and it was Potter Than Hell. And I'm like, because they said they're going to be on the boat, and I'm like, well, I know what these guys sound like. So like, we got to the pool the one day, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Steve from Potter Than Hell, and he's like, yeah, that's me. So,
nice.
So he didn't completely run away. A strange man comes up to you at the pool. I mean, I know that happens to you at the pool a lot, John. Well, I guess it's.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah, it's different than what you do at a Turkish bathhouse. This is just like hanging at the pool.
Asshole. So, oh my God.
No, but they were super, super cool. I mean, but like right away, I didn't want to be this douche that like just sounds like he's making shit up. So I was like, yeah, look, Talking Into Infinity. I showed him our podcast on the phone to make sure, and I was like, I think I might have. I don't know if I pointed to it, but it was like, yeah, we got 70 episodes. Just so I'm not like some dork that's making this up or whatever.
Well, I don't want to be like self-deprecating here, but only you would worry about some walking up to somebody saying, I have this Dream Theater podcast, and then the other person thinking, nah, you're full of crap. You're not that guy. There's no way. Yeah, because that's exactly what someone would do, is pose as one of us. Hey man, I'm Brian from Talking Into Infinity, or I'm John from Talking Into Infinity. That is awesome.
Well, I guess more to the point of who would make up I started a Dream Theater podcast.
See, yeah, you did what? Oh my God, that's hilarious. See, Steve is such a nice guy. He says, "I was glad you approached me." Yeah, I mean, I mean, Steven, I'm with you. Like, I know that like when it's happened to me at the Star Wars convention only twice. But, I've had people come up like, dude, aren't you that guy from the Nerf Herder Council? Like, yeah. So you get to bullshit with people. It's cool, man, because you figure no one knows you. You're never going to run into these people because you get viewers from all over the country, all over, for us, it's like all over the world. So it's kind of fun. It's nice to actually put a face to a name and stuff and hang out and everything. So that's awesome, man. I'll have to check that out.
Oh, and one other real quick thing I'll say. I got to do the Cruiser Jam. They had 2 of them. Only one of them they had a keyboard for.
Okay.
So I found this Facebook group a couple months before the cruise, and I stumbled across it and said Cruiser Jam. I was like, oh, this is people on the cruise are going to play. So they had a list of songs, and the theme was 1977, so the song had to be released then. So I go in there, and I'm like, okay, I doubt there's a single keyboard player in this group. Nope, not once.
Right.
And you know how this kind of stuff can go being a musician, right? Especially playing a lot of covers and jam nights and stuff. Like this can go really, 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 really bad. But there was sign-up sheets and everyone signed up. And I get there and, man, I mean, it was one pro after another, every single song. These people were great, man. I mean, all really, really, really good. And there was even, I believe the one guitar player from Enough's Enough actually played on the one song with me. I'm not sure which one. So it was Lights Out in London by UFO. And Feels Like the First Time by Foreigner.
Nice.
So I played on those 2. Yeah, there's video. I'll send you the video at some point. Now, it's your typical video of any video of a band with a keyboard player. You can kind of almost see my one finger in one part of it.
Of course.
Because they set it way, way over on the side of the stage.
Of course.
It's like, well, this guy's not really in the band. He's just up here playing a keyboard. But I'm used to that over the years. So, and which brings us to our topic that I came up with on the fly, and I guess doesn't suck that bad.
We haven't done it yet.
Right. So we're going to do a Dream Theater cruise, and we thought we would get close to 10 bands on this. We'll keep it kind of the same. They're going to play twice on the cruise. We'll have a couple stages going on. And if you want to add any extraneous comments to your bands after that type of knowledge, that's fine. I'll let you go ahead and go first, man. Who's gonna kick off the cruise as we're sailing away? Let's do it like that.
Well, I didn't put these in any order, so I'm trying to think what would be.
Just pick one. It doesn't have to be.
Some of these, I would say. Let me think. Two of these are probably not what you might expect. One is it's kind of like if I was, asleep and dreaming and said, oh man, like this would be really cool if I could see this band with this band type of thing. But so the first band that I put on my list, I put on the list because I figure, this is a band that Dream Theater fans are really into. I've actually tried listening to them lately to try and get into it, and I just can't. So I might get crucified for this, but I just don't get it. My first band, and I'm not saying they have to open, again, mine are in no particular order. I have Sleep Token.
Wow.
Yeah, and again, that's not a pick like, oh, I want to see Sleep Token, but I know that Dream Theater fans are all about them. That's like a huge thing within the Dream Theater community. They're really popular, and I thought, that would be a huge draw. I think a lot of people would like to see Sleep Token on a Dream Theater bill. Again, I've tried listening to it, and I'm just not getting into it, man. It's a little too out there for me. But yeah, I thought it would work well, so I went with Sleep Token. So hopefully that would be something good for people that are into Dream Theater.
I'm glad there was no bet on John not saying Sleep Token, because I would have lost like $20,000, because I would not have that on there in a million years.
Honestly, I don't know. Like, there's a couple of mine I don't think you would have bet on. So
all right, so we got to make sure we kind of keep track of some of these as we're coming in. Doug McCauley had Fate's Warning and Arch Echo.
Damn it, that's Doug. That's who I forgot. I was gonna put OSI on there. All right, I messed up. Jeff Pazoka, hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. He's been messaging with us. Thanks for tuning in. He's catching his first live broadcast. He says, I nominate Arch Echo and Fate's Warning. Fate's Warning is a damn good one. Arch Echo we've had with Dream Theater before, so that's a good selection. Obviously, I really like them.
Good Lord, how did I fucking forget? I didn't even think for 5 seconds about Fate's Warning, and duh.
Dude, believe me, like I will say this. I left Symphony X off because we got him on Gigantour. I kind of did,
Well, John, that leads me to.
Well, let's get Kale's question real quick. He
Go
says,
ahead.
how many times does Portnoy get to play? This is our dream cruise, Kale, so he can play as many times as we tell him to.
Yeah, right.
But yeah,
just as long as it's not transatlantic. I'm sorry, exactly. I don't really want to hear that. That'll be my go to the casino band.
Yeah, and also Portnoy has done double duty before, so I think he can handle it. So, all right. So your first band on your list in no particular order would be.
I am not picking Symphony X, but I am going to let Michael. Is it Romeo or Romeo? Is it Romeo? It's Romeo. Romeo. I always not sure. So here's the best part. He gets 2 sets, right? We've got War of the Worlds Part 1 for the first show. Second show will be War of the Worlds Part 2, right?
I like that. Now that is actually the next name on my list. So
seriously?
Yeah, I swear to God.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was like, well, if we can't have Symphony X, we got to do that. And I listened to some of the stuff because I dig it. And I was like, oh, yeah, I got to do that. But your idea is way better, man.
So, yeah, and his backing band from, I guess, both albums is John DeServio from Black Label Society. I don't know if he's still in there. Okay. Some guy named John Macalusu. Not sure what all bands he's been in. But The second album does have Dino Jalusic on it.
Okay.
He's going to do vocals for both shows. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead since he's already on the cruise. Somebody brought this up earlier. What do you think of the new Whom Gods Destroy album? I think it absolutely destroys. So F it. Let's get him on there.
I actually did not have them on because I haven't listened to the record yet. But
dude, it's considerably proggier and more out there and more Bumblefoot. What is he doing? Like just going crazy than Sons of Apollo.
Okay.
But but all in a good way, you know? I mean, but since we got Derek Sherinian hanging around, you know, he can go up and play Change of Seasons, right?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I dig it.
So I did double check. The debut album of Whom Gods Destroy is 52 minutes. So they're probably, I don't think they're going to play the whole album. Let's play like 3/4 of it. Throw in some Deep Purple, maybe some Black Country Communion. You know, wow. I don't know. Maybe they can bust out a Sons of Apollo and have I don't know, get somebody over there to sing a song or two. That might be cool.
Well, you know, Bumblefoot can sing high, so he can do something.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be too bad.
So yeah, that's what. Those are my first couple.
Okay, Kale has a great idea. I can't believe we didn't think of this either. You may have, but I did not. Kale says, "Yeah, I'll definitely take Arch Echo." By the way, Kale, awesome to see you as usual, buddy. It says, "Yeah, I'll definitely take Arch Echo, but I'm thinking Falset would probably have an in here." I did not even think of that. Like, what the hell?
I had them like really. I'm at least going to let them play the pre-party.
The pre-party, nice.
But yeah, I probably almost want him on the ship. I didn't quite put him on there, but this cruise will get rather incestuous, as you find out later.
Yeah. All right, so my next one, since I've already got Sleep Token and Michael Romeo on here, I'm going with another instrumental artist. A little more straightforward, but if you have never seen him live, he is absolutely killer. We've talked about him a little bit on this show because Brian and I have both seen him. He opened for Queensryche. He is the lead guitar player on the greatest era of Megadeth. That would, of course, be Mr. Marty Friedman, because Marty's solo stuff is killer. It varies widely, and his backing band is insane, especially his drummer Chargy. And to me, this was a pick that was based on, you know, if you're on a Dream Theater cruise, there's going to be a shitload of guitar nerds. So why not have as much guitar nerdiness as you can? So I went with Marty Friedman, and again, he puts on an amazing show. So that was part of it too. I think he puts on one of the most high energy shows I've ever seen. So I'm a huge fan of Marty. I'm a huge fan of his stuff. I met him and hung out with him 2 tours ago. Did the little VIP thing, which was actually it was only $80 for the VIP experience, and that included the concert ticket. And what it was is you got to have as many pictures taken with him as you wanted. He'd sign anything you brought, no matter how much you brought. And you were on his tour bus and he just sit there and bullshit with you till you were done talking. I was like, yeah. So love Marty. So Marty Friedman is my next choice.
Yeah, that's an obvious, easy one for you. I think it would work great. And they could go ahead and throw him on the Cruise to the Edge right now. I think he'd fit right in there, to be honest.
Totally agree.
All right, I don't want to forget some of these. There's a couple people in here have Seventh Wonder. Johan Alexanderson is one of them. I don't know anything about that band, but I'm going to check it out.
I've heard a few songs, and it's actually pretty damn good.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So yeah, he said Seventh Wonder should be on there. Most underrated prog metal band.
We got JG3's got a full list there. You want to read that one?
Let me find that. So yeah, look at this. So Jay says, I was working on a list the last 20 minutes. it's like we gave him homework or something.
Yeah, nothing like wait until the last minute.
Yeah, I know. So JG3, he says he's got Pain of Salvation, Steven Wilson, King Gizzard and Wizard Lizard, Between the Buried and Me, Symphony X, Marillion, Caligula's Horse, and Riverside. I've never heard of some of those. King Gizzard and Wizard Lizard, don't know who that is. And I don't know Riverside or Caligula's Horse.
So I have heard King Gizzard and the Wizard Lizard mentioned, I believe, on Hotter Than Hell. I think this is some band that literally like puts out like 14 albums a year or something ridiculous. Like
Right.
just constantly records and very guitar heavy from what I know. Caligula's horse sounds like a joke or something.
I know.
But I'm sure that's real. Let's see. Somebody had Camelot. That's another good one.
Yep.
All right, let's see. What do I have next on my list here?
Doug McCauley is hilarious, man. It's like, I assume the boat is crushing in Japan then. Yeah, right? With Marty.
All right.
And Doug wants to know, is Richie Kotzen on the boat? Not on my boat. He's not. He's an awesome guitar player, but I do not care for his singing voice. He sounds just like Chris Cornell to me, and I do not care for Chris Cornell's voice, even though he was amazing.
Yeah, he's Kotzen's actually a mainstay on Monsters of Rock, so we don't.
Yeah,
he gets his run. And Kale says Caligula's horse is from my fantasy land of Austria. Okay,
there we go.
I did not know they were an Australian band.
All right, Brian, who is next on your list?
All right, I have a band that actually showed up on Stephen Wright's list that he sent me. I'll read you some of his in a minute here. There's the only one that's same one so far with me and him. Zebra. Do you know anything about zebras?
Well, you can't pluralize it. Yes, I'm very familiar with striped white and black horse things.
Look,
Yeah.
You've got your list, I've got mine. Okay. No, are you familiar with the band at all? Do you know any of their music? They had one hit.
I know of them, but I've never heard.
They had that hit song, "Tell Me What You Want." It's a really high. Tell me what you want. If I'll play it for you after this, and you will go, "Oh my God, I think I've heard that once, maybe."
Okay.
But well, you probably won't because it's not Van Halen or Dream Theater. Anyway,
Shut the fuck up.
This is a strange band. They've only put out, as far as I know, a total of 4 albums in about 50 years, 4 studio albums. So the lead singer's name is Randy Jackson. No, it's not the dude from American Idol and Journey.
Okay.
He's got a really distinct high register voice, kind of a Geddy Lee, but a little more just sort of radio melodic friendly,
Okay.
Classic rock sound, some progressive elements, but nothing to the degree of like a Rush or a Kansas or a Yes. The main hits are "Tell Me What You Want," "Who's Behind the Door," another one. They did an album in 1986. I really
Uh-oh. Brian froze, or is it me freezing?
liked. It was called 3 Point. I don't know if it's. This is back. Oh, I'm back. You got me?
Oh, kinda. Yeah. Wow, you're breaking up pretty good. Was it finally somebody besides me having internet problems?
I just heard something weird happen. Could you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, something went on there. So yeah, they had an album in 1996 called 3 Point V, or 3.5. I don't know what you call that exactly, but it's really soaked in keyboards, and I guess you almost call it a pop progressive because the songs are mostly 4 or 5 minutes. They're not these long drawn out things. And this is back in that era, when you first really get into music, kind of like your mid to late teens, and you're like literally like anything you hear, you're like, oh God, I'm buying that, So it's like, so that was into my phase of like you either bought it or you taped it from your buddy or you borrowed his album and got it, And so yeah, I used to love that album. So I think Zebra would be a really cool band, and there's just not a lot known about them, and they don't tour that much, and I just think it'd be a fun, cool band to see.
Okay. Yeah, I pulled up that song real quick, and I was not familiar with it.
Okay.
So I tried. I made
well, the other thing is I'm like at least 23 years older than you, so
nice.
A little past your time.
Early 70s over there.
But I did tell Steve I would read some of his real quick on the air. So he's got Queensryche. I'm never going to say no if you want to put Queensryche anywhere.
Right.
To tour live. He had Zebra, Kansas. That's a pretty good solid band to put on there. Last in Line has a few guys from the original Dio. They have some original albums. I'm not a massive fan, but he likes them. Armored Saint, awesome.
Yeah.
Buck Cherry's been on there before.
Wow, Buck Cherry with Dream Theater. I wonder how that would go over.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I don't know. They're a band I can't really get into listen to a full album, but I think if I went and saw like a 45-minute concert, I'd be into it, Project Gemini, that is, I believe, some friends of theirs. I think the guy's Canadian. He's kind of a one-man show, and he's done a bunch of albums that I've listened to are actually pretty cool. Remember House of Lords?
I do.
From the 80s? That's another weird one. And finally, Crown Lands, a newer band from Canada I know nothing about. And one band he turned me on to, Mystic Prophecy. They sound like a somewhere in time era Iron Maiden Halloween kind of old school metal with the great melodies. But I wanted to get his whole list on there.
Okay.
And
solid.
Yeah.
See, mine I think is a little more accessible than most everybody else's. And I have a couple self-serving ones, and then I've got a couple that I think would fit well. Doug McCauley. I see, Doug, I'm wondering if Brian did this. Doug McCauley says, you know what? Fuck it. It's my Dream Theater Dreamboat. Rush is there and Portnoy is filling in for Neil. Nice.
Well, the thing is, and this is what everyone gets bent out of shape about, you can't call it Rush. So
yeah. Well,
so
they're calling it Pantera.
I know, but even who's filling it? Even Zach said, look, if we ever did try to record some stuff here, we can't call it Pantera, which I guess they have sort of possibly talked about, but it's not going to be called Pantera.
No. Well, no, but I mean, for the sake of this cruise, they could, do that.
Hey, dude, I'd be all for that.
If they did do that, I think it would be pretty extreme, which is the next band on my list for the Dream Theater cruise. I don't know how well extreme would fit, and I'm not a huge extreme fan, but going back to the well on the whole guitar nerd thing, to have Michael Romeo and Marty Friedman and Nuno Bettencourt and John Petrucci so far, on this boat, at least for me, would be pretty absolutely just unbelievable. So, for me, extreme, I never really got it. I know you're a big fan of a lot of their stuff. For me, it's cool. I mean, I won't turn it off, but I also don't seek it out to listen to. But if I had to sit there and watch Nuno Bettencourt play guitar for an hour or 45 minutes or whatever, that would not suck. So that is my reasoning for having extreme on there. Also, if you're going to have full bands, I think, you need a break from all the progginess here and there. And I think extreme provides a nice break from that, along with two more of my choices. So, yeah. Extreme. That is the next one on my list.
I am all for that. They have to play Porno Graffiti in its entirety. One show, and the other one has to be 3 sides to every story, which is going to take more than an hour. So make sure you have plenty of beer loaded up. JG3, Steve Howe calls whatever that bastardization he has touring called Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and see, if you're touring under it, okay. I mean, because you kind of have to.
Yeah. I'm just going to call it No. So let's go with that.
I mean, think about it. It's the weirdest thing. If he calls it Yes, everyone's going to buy tickets. If he goes out and says it's Steve Howe's Yes, the ticket sales are going to drop by 70%. You know what I mean? It's just not.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. So, I mean,
yeah, I don't. No, I totally get it. I mean, look, Quiet Riot was there with Rudy Sarzo, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a lot left in the tank to keep touring. That dude's got to be 70-ish.
Rudy? Yeah, I think he's early 70s.
And just a quick side note, Jizzy Pearl sounded great singing that stuff. Some people are like, "Oh, he's a terrible fit for Quiet Riot." I'm like, "What do you mean? He's got that growly kind of raspy scream.
Yeah.
I mean, who else is going to do Bro semi-justice, I mean, I thought he sounded, and it was bonus points because this was actually when we were in the pool. We got him. They actually busted in and did Blackout in the Red Room from the Love Hate first album.
No shit. Wow.
So, yeah, that was cool.
Nice. That's awesome, man. So who do you have next on your list?
All right, my next band, and the funny thing is these are literally going to all be technically bands I have never seen live.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of did that on purpose in a way. It just sort of worked out. We've got the legendary, the mighty Racer X.
Oh, that's a good one. Yes, that's a really good one.
Yeah, I kind of came up with that last minute, and I was like, "Holy crap! This is so." It feels to me like Fate's Warning, like it's so kind of obvious, but you so.
Dude, Paul
But
Gilbert and Bruce Boulay. Hell, speaking of guitar nerds,
oh yeah, and they're and this is one of those bands where you will get all the original members and stuff, and they all sound pretty good. I think, as far as I know.
wasn't Scott Travis the drummer?
Yeah, drummer from Judas Priest. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's the original drummer, so he can take a little bit of time out, go over there, do a quick cruise with these guys. And yeah, I mean, like the first couple albums I love, like Sunlit Nights, Gone Too Far, Into the Night, Dangerous Love, Loud and Clear. You know, I'm sure you would get at some point those guys doing like some kind of ridiculous twin harmony, tapping going back and forth,
Yeah.
like the Cutting Head scene in Crossroads or whatever, something like that, or probably just a lot of just great harmony stuff. But yeah, I think they would put on a hell of a show. I mean, that's one I think that would probably everyone probably drops what they're doing and makes that a must-see show.
Again, this is all playing into my guitar nerd theory. Yeah. Oh my God, this is just becoming like a guitar jerk off cruise, which is fine with me. I could watch that shit all day. So, all right. So I will save my final three. I will bring this one up. I have no idea how this would go or where this would go, but this is my extremely self-serving pick. You will not be surprised by it one bit. But if I was seeing Dream Theater,
don't do it.
And there was one other band that could be there, so I could see along with Dream Theater, it would of course be Mammoth WVH.
Yep.
I had to. It's it's a dream cruise, so if I could see Wolfgang and Dream Theater, it's like yeah. And the only reason I didn't put Sammy Hagar on there is because again, I tried to keep it to people that were at Dream Theater's level or would be, not quite as big a draw. And I don't know if I think Wolfgang is probably close to that because he's playing like 2,000 seaters like Dream Theater was. So, but yeah, I love the Wolfgang Van Halen stuff, man. It's so goddamn good. I will carry water for that band and for Wolfgang like till the cows come home. I absolutely love those two records, man. Live, they are fan-fucking-tastic. Album perfect. They just sound great. It's awesome. It's just a great band. The songs are all great. They're really catchy. Not too heavy, not too poppy. And I'm a huge fan. So I think this would be one of those palate cleansers. Extreme and Wolfgang would kind of be the palate cleansers. It's like, okay, here's some straight up rock and roll to kind of give you a break from all the prog craziness and whatnot. So, yeah, Mammoth WVH. I have three left, by the way. I have three left.
Okay, I actually don't hate it. I agree. That's going to be one of those. Just everyone's going to be singing along in just feel good, happy kind of. Not that the other stuff is like depressing or anything, but just feel good, happy, rocking music, and the super talented singer.
Yep. Kale McLeish says Wolfgang is better than Extreme.
Let's not get carried away here, Kale. Let's not get ourselves banned from the show.
Song wise, Kale, I completely agree. I think musically, I think obviously Nuno is a better player than Wolfgang, but I mean the fact that Wolfgang writes everything himself and plays all the instruments on his records and it's all so goddamn good is, oh my God, that's crazy. So huge shout out to him for that. That's huge shout out to Wolfgang, like he's listening or something.
Yeah.
What a dick. Anyways, all right. So what is next on your list?
Real quick, I got to say, Doug McCauley, Annihilator. That's some pretty niche stuff there. I don't hate that. I don't know how that would exactly go over, but
that would be one of those bands. Like if Portnoy was picking him, he would pick something awesome and heavy.
Yeah. Well, I for sure wanted to pick like Nevermore, but unfortunately, World Dane's no longer with us. Because, dude, I love that band and Sanctuary. Because they could have literally like played one set as Nevermore and one set as Sanctuary, and I would have been like, oh my God, this is amazing,
Right.
But all right, so my next pick, I am going. Oh, this is for our buddy Bob Hurd. I don't think he's watching live tonight, but I got to get his all-time favorite band, Opeth, on here.
I was waiting for somebody to put Opeth in there.
Yeah, you got to put them on. I'll full disclosure. I'm still more of a kind of a casual fan of this band. I'm sort of slowly working my way into it. But there is a killer live concert, full pro shot. It was a DVD originally. It's on YouTube. It's called Garden of the Titans, and it's live from Red Rocks. And if you've ever seen it, I don't care what the hell the band is, even if you don't like the music. If you just go watch a YouTube concert that's like done pro wise shot at Red Rocks, and your mind's just blown by that anyway.
Yeah.
But they have their own brand. It's a, I don't know, kind of a symphonic, moody, broody metal, prog thing. And it's just the right amount of like atmospheric and main keyboards, that's the kind of stuff that, okay, I hear something cool, and then you get those keyboards in there, and me being me, of course, that's when I dig it being a keyboard player, but I also think it always just takes that kind of stuff up a few levels,
Yeah.
And their musicianship is just off the charts. Their old stuff has a lot of the death growly vocals. They've really gotten away from that. The guy, he said he can't sing that way anymore. He doesn't want to anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And they've just matured a ton musically and vocally. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that's a band. If they're on there, they're going to have a pretty damn good crowd.
I would agree with that. I think that's a very solid pick. I'm not overly familiar, but yeah, I think that'd be an awesome pick for that. So, all right. So I'm going into my final three. How about you? How many do you have left? You should have what, 2 or 3? No,
I think I got 3.
Okay. All right. Well, I am going with another instrumental act, and this probably won't surprise anybody, least of all you, Brian. But this is probably my favorite instrumental stuff to listen to if I'm listening to guitar albums. He's only got I think now he's got 4. It's maybe his 5th, but he just put one out. It's not as heavy as his other stuff. Not that his other stuff is really heavy, but it's called Welcome to Oogly World, I believe. It's a really weird album title and like a cartoon cover, but there is nothing cartoony about this guy's playing. And I've never seen this guy live. I never will, probably, which really sucks. So I had to have him on my Dream Theater Dream Cruise. Is, of course, the mighty Marco Sfogli. I've got to see Marco live, so I put him on my Dream Theater Cruise. I love everything Marco has done. It's he does some proggy stuff, he does some heavy stuff, he does some lighter stuff. A little bit of like the new record's got some real almost fusion-y parts to it. So that like I say, there's just I have all of his albums in a playlist and I hit random and there's nothing to skip. It's just great. I mean, it's there's some power metal in there. There's like but it always is under that. The melody in that guy's playing is just second to none. So I absolutely love Marco. So I put him on my Dream Theater Dream Tour.
Well, and let's clarify too. He's also on the Labrie solo stuff.
Yeah, he's played on some of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to clarify for the Dream Theater fanatics on here. He's on a couple of the solo albums.
Yep. Robert Husted, good to see you. Brian, I know this will be a good choice for you. He says, Sabaton would be my number 1 pick for the Dream Cruise.
Oh, man. That's
how are they going to get that stage show up there?
I think that's the one band, honestly, that because we were like, let's not make it a band that's bigger than Dream Theater. I think that's that band is absolutely just sells out anything everywhere in Europe. So on a cruise, I think all the Europeans will buy up all the cabins. I don't think you'd be. Yeah, that would be the one band I think it would be bigger than them.
Okay. All right.
But not a bad choice. Okay, I told you it would get incestuous.
Oh boy.
Here comes Periphery.
Oh, good choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, this is an interesting band to get into. I don't know how much you listen to it. I kind of try to go and check them out like a few times a month and find some new gems here and there. And, it's got John Petrucci's nephew, Jake Bowen, on guitar. Man, it's just like I wrote this. It's like a beautiful assault on the sonic senses. I don't know. It's metal, there's synth wave, there's prog. I guess it's a heavier Haken at times.
Okay.
With the more growling vocals coming in here and there. But their songs and their albums are just continually evolving. So, what they were 5 years ago is not what they do now. And, they don't have, you can't pick 3 songs and go, oh, these sound the same. Like, man, they're just
Yeah.
insanely talented and, kind of a challenging listen to, they're growers. But if you're into that kind of stuff, man, throw on your headphones and just find something on YouTube or Spotify, just periphery, the list, and just dive in, and you're gonna be like, wow, this stuff is amazing.
I think that's one of the cool things about a lot of these bands, because I'm not overly familiar, but like one of the things that I do, I've got my Amazon Music. That's the platform that I use to listen to stuff, and I've got it set to where if an album or if I play an album or a single song, whenever it's over, it'll start automatically playing artists related to that. And I found some really cool new stuff just by letting it play and going, man, what is this? And there were a lot of Dream Theater ish bands that after listening to a Dream Theater record, I was like, what the hell is this? And that I really, really liked. And Periphery, came up a couple times. And yeah, I think to your point, like, it's like, God, this is pretty varying stuff. It was, like you said, no 2 songs sound the same. And it was interesting, man. It was cool. So it's something I definitely have listened to here and there, and I kind of enjoyed. So
You got to read that comment I just sent you. The Kale put up there.
oh no.
Somebody suggested baby metal, but read Kale's reply.
So somebody did suggest baby metal, and Kale says no baby metal. They can come on the ship just so they can be thrown overboard when we're right out in the middle of nowhere. That's fantastic.
Oh my God.
Doug McCauley says harsh, Kale, but appropriate.
You know what? I actually don't mind watching and listening to a little bit of it, but I feel like just super creepy, Like,
Yeah.
I think if I was just listening to it, it'd be all right. But man, I don't know. There's like these 13, 14-year-old chicks that just barely any clothes on, and I don't need the cops coming on. What are you watching on YouTube? Oh, no, seriously, it's a baby metal video.
Yeah, it's a band. Damn it! I swear to God.
Yeah.
Doug McCauley. He says my wife is watching, and she said Coldplay. I don't think she understands this. No, it does not sound like it. It does not sound like it at
hey,
all,
I'd be all right with Coldplay for kind of just mellowing us out for a little.
And Brian's been dumped from the show for saying something so goddamn stupid it defies description. So I will finish out my list. Brian can sit there and think about the dumb things that he says. All right, we'll bring him back. What the hell's wrong with you?
I'm
Coldplay.
serious.
Ugh, that band is so boring.
I know.
Yeah.
I want to be bored after 3 nights of all that. I need something to just mellow myself out in the morning.
Okay, well, pick something better than that. In fact, I've got it. You need something to mellow you out. James LaBrie solo acoustic. There you go. He can do the freaking Beautiful Shade of Grey album in its entirety. So there you go.
Wow, that's actually it's one. That's a good idea. 2, it came from you. It's like.
Don't be trying to get revenge on me, man.
Dude, that's actually a great idea. I thought about saying LaBrie, and I was like, I couldn't. I was trying to come up with a context, but that is the perfect context of what you just said there.
That'd be like a really cool like cruise closer. Like everybody can get together like with their hangovers and their final drinks and shit, just kind of like kumbaya, man. That'd be cool. I would love that. Of course, I've always wished that James could tour off of Beautiful Shade of Grey, but unfortunately we'll never see that. But okay, so I have 2 bands left, and I know that this is like an impossibility pretty much, but I don't care. This is my Dream Theater Dream Cruise, and if I was watching Dream Theater, would also love to see Mike Portnoy get back behind the kit one more time and kick some ass with Derek Sherinian and Bumblefoot and Billy Sheehan and Jeff Scott Soto and give me some more Sons of Apollo. Like I say, it's, oh my God. Definitely Sons of Apollo. Portnoy can do some double duty. And I absolutely love Sons of Apollo. I'm brokenhearted that we're not going to get, more than 2 records out of that unless some miracle happens down the road. But at least I got to see them a couple times. I saw them on each tour. Brian and I had an awesome experience in Battle Creek, Michigan, watching them. So that was very cool. But yeah, I just my last two bands, this one and then my final band, were the first ones immediately I wrote at the top of my list. I was like, yeah, these two got to have it. But I mean, Sons of Apollo, I would actually go so far as to say I think Sons of Apollo is underrated. I was really surprised that it didn't take off more than it did. I thought that band would have been much better received by the Dream Theater fan base than it was. I think those of us like super nerds that do Dream Theater podcasts, or things like that, or all you guys in the chat that are really into this sort of music, I think I universally pretty much enjoyed that band. But outside of us, like, the tours that I saw, they played House of Blues here on the first tour, and there was like about 350 people. And so the next tour, when Brian and I saw them in Michigan, it was a place that held 335, and it was sold out. I mean, it was assholes to elbows in there, but I really thought that would have been bigger than it was, and it always bummed me out because I don't think they got a fair shake, man.
Well, the pandemic just destroyed any chance that second album ever had before it even started.
Yeah,
you
true.
and I caught the next to last show.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Husted, Creed would be on board for sure. Hey, remember when Robert Husted used to be on the show?
Yeah, I can't believe we finally got our first person who got banned from the chat.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Creed,
we
get the hell out of here.
There was actually a Coldplay discussion going on, so we got to kick all three of those people off. Johan, JG3, and Kale, they're all gone.
Oh, God. All right, so if you had to have one, Coldplay or Creed, who's it going to be?
I'll take Coldplay.
I will, too, and I hate them both.
Yeah.
But I cannot stand. Dude, I don't know what it was, but I mean, first, for some reason, Creed's music I never liked, and then I found out that Scott Stapp in person is just an absolute dick and a half. I think I've told that story on the show before. I did run into him, or rather, watch him run into a glass door with a broken arm, so that was pretty funny. So
yeah, I love the second album, but I can understand why people don't like Creed or don't like Scott Stapp. All right, so is it back to me again?
Yeah, real quick though, JG3 might get his ass banned here. He says, "I'm going to be honest. The big thing holding Sons of Apollo back is the vocalist. In my opinion, he's not bad, but I think they could have picked a better vocalist." See, Jay, that's dangerous territory on this show because both Brian and I are both huge Jeff Scott Soto disciples. We are like enormous fans of his voice. So, that's I'm going to disagree with you vehemently, Jay, but we're all entitled to our opinions. So, all right, so we're back to you. I have one left. How many do you have left? Is this your final one, or do you have two more?
I have two more.
Okay.
Actually, I have three, but I'll make them quick. Another one for Bob here. Bob Heard. Soil Work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize they're actually up to 12 albums now. Been around a while. I don't have any idea how you pronounce the last two album titles because they actually put those in Swedish, so F them. But everyone refers to them as Swedish death metal because they're kind of in that In Flames, category, whatever. That's not what I think of when I think of death metal, but
I completely agree with you. I've heard that label for them too, and I'm like, this doesn't sound death metal to me. Sound like death metal to me.
Yeah, so I have them on here. Super heavy parts, and they get their growling type of vocals from here and there. That frontman, Bjorn, I pronounce it Bjorn, but I also pronounce it Bjork for that chick. So Bjorn Strid, he's also the brainchild of the Night Flight Orchestra, which I actually love that project. But Soilworks it's sort of in the fundamentals of, a more mature progressive In Flames. They recently did a really cool, it's a 17-minute EP, more of a single. It was called The Wisp of the Atlantic, and there's trumpet in this thing. Trumpet,
what?
The trumpet and piano, and then there's like these thrash guitar harmonies, and the guy singing harsh, and then like singing this clean chorus. It's the most ridiculous, like mixing of metal and cocktail hour jazz. I don't know, but it works perfectly because there's a super strong chorus melody keeps coming back to. And it's kind of similar to Periphery. It's one of those bands. More albums they put out, the harder it sort of gets to define them. If you want to get to their older stuff, full on metal, I came in at Bob's the one who got me to, I think it's Sworn to a Great Divide, 2007, and then I picked up again. 2015's The Ride, Majestic. Those are both really kind of in the more heavier vein, but still just tons of great. I just love bands that know how to use the dual guitars, and
Yeah.
that just you put those in there. And I don't care if a guy growls for 3 minutes. If you get 2 minutes of killer guitar harmonies, to me, you could still pretty much sell me on the songs, and that's kind of what their older stuff especially is. But the new stuff has that and mixes it with all these great elements.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I'm not a big fan of like the Cookie Monster-ish vocals, but as long as the music keeps me interested, I can listen to it. It's the stuff where it just repeats it just sounds repetitious throughout the record. I'm like, yeah, I could listen to like 3 songs. I'm like, okay, I've heard this already. So, but Soilwork's pretty cool. Johan Alexanderson, he's probably an expert on this, because they're Swedish. He says it's because they are from the Swedish West Coast. They get lumped in with the Gothenburg scene. Okay, very cool. See, this is why it's awesome having the chat. Like they know more shit than we do, so that we get educated on the show.
Dude, anybody knows anything more than we do.
Right. Right. All right. So before I get to my last one, Kale's got a pretty good list here. It says, all right, so Arch Echo, Falset, Mean Streak, Mammoth WVH, Caligula's Horse, James Labrie, Flying Colors, Voyager, Alter Bridge, Carnival, Haken, Sons of Apollo's Last Ride, and Dream Theater. Let's do it. That's pretty damn solid, Kale. That's pretty damn solid.
Yeah, I like Alter Bridge in there. I thought about putting them on there, but I've seen them, multiple times, and they're one of my main huge bands. So I was trying to kind of leave some of those out if possible.
Right. All righty. So my final band is going to be an obvious one, and I don't care. They have toured with Dream Theater before, and I don't care. I love this band. I think they're excellent. I think with their new vocalist, it sounds like you're listening to them back in 1988. I don't think this is going to be any surprise, except for the fact that it brings Mike Stone back into John Petrucci's orbit. But of course, I'm talking about Queensryche. I would love to see Queensryche now with Dream Theater, because when I saw them previously, it was not great because Jeff Tate was, making the set lists and playing all that crappy newer stuff, and he was still pretty good, but wasn't singing the older stuff as well as he had. So I was kind of like, no, okay. It was the first time I'd seen Queensryche live, and I was a little bit bummed out. I got to be honest. Now, if Queensryche toured with Dream Theater, it would be fucking awesome, because they're busting out the old school shit. Latore is an absolute monster, so I think it would be awesome to get Queensryche and Dream Theater in the same bill again. So that is my final band. That would probably be that would probably be my main support band. So recapping mine, I have Sleep Token, Michael Romeo, Marty Friedman, Mammoth WVH Extreme, Sons of Apollo, Marcos Fogli, and Queensryche. So that's like JG3. Mike Stone, old Oven Mitts himself. Johan Alexanderson said he might be able to teach JP a thing or two. Yeah, right. Nice. So, all right, let me go into solo here real quick. Brian's laptop is dying, so he has to go get his charger. Nice of him to prepare for the show. He can't be bothered to show up for most of the shows this year, and then when he does, his computer breaks. That's good. Real professional, Brian. In any case, so yeah, that's my list. I think you guys have some really awesome selections in there. Like I said, I kind of figured that my list would not be as proggy as your guys. Like I said, I just kind of figured that, kind of break it up a little bit with some melodic stuff that's a little more straightforward. I know that after I saw Dream Theater the first time, it was on the Scenes from a Memory tour, and they got through the record and everything, and they were going through the encores, and my head was spinning. I was like, man, I could really use an AC/DC song right now. Like, so yeah, that was it can be a little overwhelming. So I think if you're getting pounded in the face with prog for that many hours, having something to kind of just kind of like break it up, I think would be a good thing. Look at Jay. I miss Brian. Nice. Doug McCauley, brutal. He was at sea. Forgot to plug it in, I guess. Yeah. Just not
I'm back.
not prepared. I get, yeah. But dude, not professional. I mean, I was just telling our fine listening audience and viewing audience that, you can't be bothered to be on half the shows this year, and then when you show up, you're not prepared. I mean, what the hell?
Are you urinating right now as you said that? Because I know that's happened on the air before,
Yeah.
so don't even pretend
Right.
it hasn't.
I have the banner all ready to go for it. Yes, but yeah. So all right. So next on your list.
All right, I have 2 left. I'm gonna save the best for last for you.
Okay.
I want to mellow things out myself. We cannot get the full band of this because mainly I think the drummer said he's not physically capable anymore. I'm going to get Rick Emmett from Triumph, who does tour as an acoustic solo thing, and sounds absolutely amazing still at his age.
Interesting.
Yeah, so give me the stripped down versions of Magic Power, Laid on the Line, Follow Your Heart, all that. Like on a lazy afternoon or morning when you're still recovering from the complete insanity of last night.
Right.
And still maybe nursing a bit of a hangover, but yeah, just I would love to hear him, just stripped down playing like that out by the pool, or maybe late at night, like when all the shows are over and you just want to have a cocktail, kind of out on the deck there, and just have him just belting out those classic Triumph tunes, just him and his acoustic guitar, and I think it would sound amazing.
Okay. All right. I'm not really familiar with Triumph. I'll be completely honest. So I know that they got a couple hits I know, and other than that, I haven't really listened. So,
Yeah.
but I will say this: I'm a big fan of acoustic stuff. I like hearing things stripped down because it's always impressive if you can tell that a song is great when it's really just stripped down to its bare bones, like just a guitar or 2 guitars or something, a guitar and keys and a voice, like it. Because if the song can still reach you and have that sort of power in the melody when it's that simplified, I think that's just beautiful. So I really enjoy acoustic music. So I would actually be into that. So what is their really big hit? I feel like I have one of their hits acoustic on my
Magic Power, Lay It on the Line. So lay it on the line.
maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Fight the Good Fight. That's another one.
I'll have to
I'm
check.
sure you know Magic Power.
I've got it's one of those I could swear, but
Yeah, Never Surrender.
okay.
I'm forgetting one other big one.
Well, I know what
Doug-
you're not forgetting though.
What's that?
Your number 1 band on your list.
I do want to. Doug McCauley, thank you. He says, "Great idea, Brain." I always appreciate that. And I hope that was not done intentionally, because it's always funnier that way.
I don't know. I like it both ways, unintentional and intentional.
Oh, wait a second. Somebody put an obvious one. Devin Townsend. JG3.
Oh my
yeah.
God. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
God, he was just on tour with them. How did we forget him? He was awesome with Dream Theater.
Yeah, duh. Okay, my last one. This is kind of more for you, because I'm gonna have to be. I'm pretty much sure I'm gonna be stuck hanging out with you a lot of this cruise. So,
So you want to get rid of me? Put something on stage that will just enthrall me?
so I'm trying to think of, when do we do this? I think this is the very last night. Maybe they only play one show. We are going to get the one, the mighty, the only band doing anything remotely like this. Let's bring on Testament. Fuck it. Fuck it.
Yes.
I've never seen Testament live.
Oh, you are missing out,
And
dude.
I'm like, Chuck Billy to me is the thrash version of John Bush. It's like that grating, gritty, like basically like your dad telling you what's up. It's like I don't know. I'm trying to figure like authoritative voice. Like this is just like, dude, this is hardcore metal. I'm delivering it. Just balls to the wall, and I'm just hitting you right in the gut with it as hard as I can.
Right.
And just come out there and do freaking brutal. Most of the bands only play for an hour. Just come out and do a brutal 90-minute set. And so, basically you can't even walk the next day. Like you're like barely. It's all you can do to get in the Uber to get to the airport. Yeah, F it. Just have. I don't know what else to say about them. I mean, they keep making albums. Most of the albums are still pretty good as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they sound like Testament. Alex Skolnick, they still come with riffs. I mean, why not, man?
That most recent record of theirs, Titans of Creation, that record slams, man. That is, and it's almost like a throwback. It's, to me, I don't know if you've heard it or haven't heard it much, but it is like, riff wise, it is very much rooted in more of their 80s riff style.
Yeah.
Like it's still got that modern Testament brutality to it,
Right.
but it's very much like a practice what you preach type of a thing. And I thought that was awesome. So yeah, dude, that Testament is phenomenal live. They are so good. I'm really surprised you haven't seen them yet.
No, I'm pissed because I think they did one of those, was them and Exodus and Death Angel or something, but it was at the Agora, and I think they closed the top, and it's like, dude, I can't. You think I'm going to be down there in the middle of what's going on during that show? Like I'll be at the emergency room in 5 minutes once that freaking pit breaks out.
Right.
Like,
well,
so yeah. So if they come again and it's a situation where there's at least balcony or something where I can, then I'll for sure go.
All right, we're making it happen, dude, because I love Testament. And dude, Chuck Billy live, I mean, the first time that I saw him was back in 2010. It was Exodus and Testament opening for Megadeth on the 20th anniversary of Rust in Peace tour. And Exodus played first, and then Testament came out. And actually, no, I take that back. I opened for Testament in 2099. It was either the Low or the Demonic tour. And I opened for them at Ron's Crossroads in Akron, which holds like 200 people. So that was, seeing Testament in a club that small was like, holy shit. Talk about ripping your head off. But, when Chuck Billy comes out and he just goes, whoa, he does that. It's all you hear in the room. You're like, what in the hell is that? I mean, it is just, whoo, man.
What's that song? Native Land or Native something or whatever. It's like, it just goes crazy in that one. Like,
I would have to look it up. I'm trying.
It's on one of the live ones. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, is that like one of the more recent tunes? I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, he has not slowed down a bit. I mean, it's just they're phenomenal. That would be a hilarious choice because you get, our melodic choices, and then you get all this prog, and then all of a sudden you'd have, Testament just absolutely ripping everyone's goddamn face off.
Native Blood.
Blood.
Dark Roots of the Earth. It's on one of the live ones too. Yeah, and the live one's just like, oh my god, you're just like, just like freaking jumping all over the place. You're gonna do some kind of cannibalistic fire dance or something. I don't know.
The Atomic Clock. Gene Hoglan on drums. Man, oh man. Yeah, dude, awesome choice. Yeah, Dark Roots of Earth is a pretty damn good record. I like that one. Like I said, the latest one is really good. I mean, you got to go with The Gathering, and obviously the classic stuff is tight. So that is an awesome band. I even like the death metal record they put out. There's a lot of stuff on that Demonic record that was really good. So, all right, so a few more comments and we'll jump out of here. But Robert Husted wants to know, does Tenacious D work for this cruise? Well, Robert, so it is a dream cruise, so you can put whoever the hell you want on your cruise. So yes, there are no rules. I just placed some rules on myself. I figured I tried to keep it a little bit realistic, so I kept it with bands that are at Dream Theater's level or lesser. So,
well, they definitely fit the lesser. If Baby Metal needs something to float on, they can use those two Beached Whales and Tenacious D.
I take it you are not a Tenacious D fan.
No, I thought we had this discussion that none of us are.
Yeah, but it's okay to revisit that because I don't get Tenacious D at all, and Jack Black just tries way too hard to be funny.
Okay, I was gonna say I thought we already established that.
Yeah, not a fan of the D. So,
Well,
said,
that's not,
facetiously. I was waiting for it.
Don't give everyone the wrong impression there, John.
Yes. So, well, cool, man. That was a good time. That was a very good topic on your part. So thanks for bringing that to the table. All you guys in the chat, always good to see you. JG3, Robert Husted, Doug McCauley, Chastity, Stephen Wright. Awesome to meet you, brother. Thanks for tuning in. Cale McLeish, obviously, Jeff Pizzoka, all you guys, thank you very much. You guys had some awesome suggestions and really brought some stuff up that we're like, damn it, how did we forget this? Like, good Lord. I mean, we really screwed the pooch on a few really obvious choices, but it is our cruise, so I guess our choices were a little more obvious to us than others. So at least we have that going for us. But so we are right back here in 2 weeks. Let me think what the date will be. Whenever the calendar changes, I always screw up the damn dates. So we are going to be back right here. It'll be 2 weeks from tonight. The date will be Thursday, April 4th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There is a chance I may pull a Brian Hendrickson and I may bail on the show. And Brian, you will have to find a co-host and do it without me because Galactic Empire is in Cleveland that night.
I saw that. I was wondering if you were going.
I've seen them. I actually interviewed them a couple times when their first record came out, and I met them. We went out to see him at the Beachland Ballroom, and we talked to, I believe his name is Chris, the guy who kind of puts the whole thing together. Really nice guys. Amazing band. If you guys are into Star Wars, make sure to go check out Galactic Empire. They basically take the like pieces of the Star Wars soundtracks and they put it to metal, but they do it. It's not like, you know, some of those things you see online where they make it all brutal and stupid. Like they actually have like the musical charts and they use almost all the instrumentation, but it's all guitar, bass, and drums. And it sounds huge and full and awesome. And they've started getting into other stuff. Like I know they've done, was it Indiana Jones or something? They've done other stuff, but a few other things besides Star Wars, but the majority of it is Star Wars. So if you haven't heard of them or checked it out, make sure you go check it out. It's really, really good. So, but yeah,
Can you do a metal version of the Jar Jar Binks like Happy Dance Parade thing at the end of Phantom.
Dude,
I'm hoping.
it's
Please tell me they do.
It's Jar Jar Binks, not Biggs, you idiot. Biggs is the X-wing pilot in Episode 4.
That's what I
Luke
said. Jar Jar
Skywalker's
Binks.
Good God, what is it with? Why do you do this to me? Oh my
The
God,
kangaroo with the floppy ears or whatever it is.
Oh, shut the fuck up. That movie's getting back in theaters in May, and I can't wait, man. I am stoked for that.
I guess they got to put something in theaters since nothing else is in there.
You are awful. Oh my God. Look at this. Look at this. Adam Rishog, right as we're signing up. Adam Rishog, it is amazing to see you, by the way. He says, oh my God, did I actually catch a live episode finally? Miss you, gents. Miss you too, brother. But yeah, you're going to catch us live for only like a minute or two.
This is the best part of the show. We'd hardly say anything.
Right. So yeah, so Thursday, April 4th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Brian, I think it's time that we get into our next album song ranking episode, which of course this next one is Systematic Chaos, as we determined last time.
All right.
So I think we should do that. And remember, In the Presence of Enemies is 2 separate tracks.
Oh, Lord.
So you have to split them up. See, but now look at this. See, it's good for you this time because otherwise, so now you've got 2 to choose from instead of just 1. So there you go. There you go. So yeah. So next show we will be ranking the songs of Systematic Chaos.
Jar Jar Binks was an American Pie? I'm getting really confused by this.
That's a great reference.
Wait, well, you're not going to
Jar Jar Binks.
Hold on though. We're not going to do that without you. So
well, I don't have tickets to the show yet. I don't know
dude,
if I'm
you're going. I know you.
No, I skipped it last time.
Oh.
So
they are really cool, actually. I'm just busting your ball. I've seen the stuff online. It looks like it'd be a lot of fun.
Dude, it sounds great live too. So
yeah.
Look at Jeff Pizzoka. Repentance is number 1. Jeff, you're gonna get banned from the chat on your very first show. You don't cut it out.
This one might be a little harder than
the
more I'm thinking about. This might be a little tougher than I'm thinking.
Yeah, this is like we said when we did the deep dive. This is a very up and down record. Like the highs are really high and the lows are pretty low. So, Stephen Wright, this is a great show, guys. Thanks, man. Again, great to meet you. Thanks for tuning in. I'm definitely going to be checking out your guys' stuff. So if you guys have not checked out Podder Than Hell, Brian's on a recent episode, and I know they got a bunch of stuff out there. So make sure you go check them out. Podder, Podder Than Hell.
He's also got a Queensryche podcast, but I don't know the name of it. So,
okay.
If you
Awesome.
know the name real quick, tell me, Steve, or search for it. I'm sure you can. If it's probably off of their Podder Than Hell, you can find it too.
Brian doing show research as usual. Way to go on that.
Hey, he never told it to me, I don't think.
There you go. I'm still good. It's called I Remember Now.
Oh,
there we go.
I found that one on here. Okay. I didn't know you guys had this many episodes. Nice. Okay.
Look at that. Yep. I Remember Now, the Queensryche podcast. See, now I'm going to listen to that. That's kick ass, man. I have a Van Halen podcast to listen to and now a Queensryche podcast. This is awesome. All righty. So, Brian, it was fun as usual. I will more than likely see you in 2 weeks. And again, to all you guys in the chat, much appreciated for tuning in. It's always great having you guys take part in the show and, remind us of bands that we forgot about because we're a couple of dummies. So much appreciated to all you guys. Don't forget, if you are watching on YouTube, click that like button, click that subscribe button, and smash that notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. So guys, again, we'll be back on Thursday, April 4th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, he is Brian. I am John. And as always, guys, carpe